So the question that we had was, how do you use the offset feature? And we had a Facebook member that was trying to make stickers for her planner, and the print and cut was cutting just a little bit off, but the calibration said that it was great. So let's get started. So I'm going to draw some dots, and I'm going to click on the ellipse tool. And I don't know if you guys know, but if you hold down the shift key while you draw your circle, it will make a perfectly round circle. If you do it without, you can alter the shape of the circle, but we want it perfect. So I'm not for sure how big you wanted your dots, but just for the taping purposes, we'll just make them this size. Oops. Let me do that again. So click over here on the ellipse tool, hold down my shift key, make my dot, and then release. So over here, I'm going to replicate them. Let me set my pages. So we want this to be letter size. And we want to show the print borders as well as the cut borders. This right here is your print border, and you want to make sure that everything is inside that print border for when you send it to the Cameo or to the printer, and then when it reads on the registration for your Cameo, it's going to not read it correctly if you're outside of the print line or outside of the cut line. So let's add our registration marks. I'm going to do Cameo, Portrait Cameo. So those of you that don't know, this area right here is the area you can't put anything in, along with this area down here. These little marks, the square and the little brackets, is what the cutter reads to tell the cutter to cut inside of those parameters. So you want to make sure that everything is on the inside. I'm going to go to the replicate feature, which is up here. Click on that, and I'm just going to fill the page. Okay, and that's going to tell me how many is going to fit on that page. If you need to adjust them, you can just select them and adjust them or whatever. But I can see right here, this might be a little bit too close to the edge, so I'm just going to select everything. So you can either highlight everything or you can do Control A, and then I'm going to nudge it down. And to nudge it just a little bit, you can use your arrow key, and that will move it down. If you want to go faster, you can hold down your shift key and your arrows, and it will move it a lot faster than just using the single. See how much slower it moves if you only use the arrow key, but if you hold down your shift key, it will move it just a little bit faster. So now that looks good. So now if I send this to the cutter, it's going to cut everything that the red line is in. But we want to make sure that when it sends to the printer, it's going to print just like this without the cut lines. It's going to print just like this. Let me turn off my line colors as well. Okay. But what we want to do is we want to do an inset so that the cutter will cut just inside of the colored area. So you're going to select everything. This button right here is the offset window. You click on that, and here's your internal offset. So if you click on this, you'll see a little line. I don't know if you saw that. A little red line that comes up right inside here. All it did was take the shape, the size of the original circle, and it did an inset. So let me go back and show you how to adjust those. So internal offset, and you can see that it just did 0.039 inches. If you want it smaller or bigger, you just adjust it right here, your arrow buttons. Okay, but the original one was pretty good, so we'll just go with that. Okay, so everything is selected. I'm going to hit internal offset. It automatically defaulted to 0.039. which if you look really close, it's gonna be okay to cut because the cutter is going to cut this line on the inside. Okay, so it's applied. Now what you want to do is you want to, let's go back to the cut line. Sorry, I'm a little nervous. So see right here, it showed you 2 lines. We want to change those. So what you can do is you can click on the internal circle and change the color. We probably should have done that first. Okay, let's do this over. Let me delete all this. Let me make another circle. I just realized there's an easier way. So there's my dot. You're going to adjust the dot to whatever size you want. You're going to highlight that and you're going to do an internal offset. So if we look, it did a 0.039. Okay, so now what you actually have are 2 different images. Do you see that? This right here is one image and this right here is one image. What we want to do is we want to change the color of the inside image. That's the outside. And it doesn't matter which one you pick. Let's do, and send that to the back. And then we'll just align these to the center. Okay, so now you have 2 different circles. You have the pink circle on the outside and you have your pink circle on the inside. What you want to do is you want to print what is on the outside, right? So let me see what an easier way to do this. You're going to make this no color for right now. Okay, so it looks like it disappeared, but if you go to your line color and change the line color, you can see that it's still here. But unless you want your printer to print that, you're going to turn off the color. But if you don't care if it's printing, then just leave it, because your cutter is only going to cut the inside. So even though your printer is going to print the pink border and your cutter is going to cut the blue, that's what you want, right? Or you can make them both the same color. So what we're going to do is we're going to come up here, line that up. Now we're going to replicate and fill the page. Okay, so when we go to print this, let's say you don't want the pink, okay, then you can come down here to the bottom. Can you see that? I don't know if you can see that. Let me move it down just a little bit. See right down here, there's a set of toolbars down here. You're going to pick on the one that says select by color. And then it's going to show you the different colors that are over here. These are the line colors and then the fill color. We want the fill color because we're going to turn off the color for this. So we're going to select everything that was this color. We're going to go to the pink bucket and we're going to put no color. Now it's disappeared. Now we're going to go to the cut and then you're going to tell it to no cut. If you go to the advanced feature, you can select by color. And you can see that it's only going to cut the blue, which is what you want. So when you zoom in, it's only going to cut that blue. And then when you print, it's only going to print that blue. Does that all make sense? Are you with me? I don't know if that made sense to you. I don't know if I lost you, so I'm just going to go up here and send you a message. Okay. Let me see if it would work better if I move the camera over to the other side. That's okay. I'm new to Periscope too. But we will figure this out. Okay, so the icon, can you hear me now? Is that better? Let me know if you can hear me now. Okay, so let's go back to the silhouette. Okay, so let me zoom in. Okay. Can you see those? So these are your toolbars. This one up here is your bucket. This is what controls your color. This is your fill color. So you can select on them and you can make them whatever colors you want. Okay, so those are your fill colors. If you don't want to fill at all, you're going to click on this little hash grid thing over here and it'll delete the color. Okay, so the other one that I was showing you is the offset. This one right here, can't even tell what it looks like. It looks like it's got a little border around it with some kind of a pen or something, but right up here is your offset. When you click on it, you can do an offset. The offset is going to draw a border to the outside. The internal offset will draw a border to the inside. So once you click on that, see how it just made a big circle around there? And if you have something with corners, you want to click on the corner because then it'll detect the corners better, but ours is round, so we'll just keep it on the round. And then you just hit apply. This right here, you can slide it. If you just would rather use the slider, you can use the slider. Or if you know how much you want to do it in measurements, you can just put your measurements in right there. If you find a lot of planner videos, they'll tell you offset or inset at 0.025. And then you just punch those numbers in here and hit apply and it'll do it without you having to mess around with it. This one right here, let me move over to the other side. This right here is my favorite tool. This is the back button. So it will take you back one step at a time, and then this one will take you forward. And then down below is where I was showing you select by color, which is right here. So if you hover over them, it'll tell you what they are. This one, select by color. This one right here is your duplicate. This one is your weld. And I use this one and weld a lot. But most of the time, I just use my right mouse button. If you click on your right mouse button, you get a drop-down window. Okay, so does that help you out? let me know if there's anything else I can answer for you before I shut it off. A little lopsided. You're welcome. And if you have any questions, just post it on here. I usually have my phone with me and I can answer questions. If I'm in front of the computer, then I can do a quick video. I haven't done a whole lot of videos, as you can tell, but I'm working on it. And I do have a couple of videos, beginner videos, on YouTube under my name, Tammy Weathers. Duplicate. Okay, duplicate. So duplicate. So let's say, you had an image. So I use duplicate a lot, like if I want to save what I have just done, and then I want to mess around with the image a little bit, and then if I totally mess it up, then I can just use the duplicated image. So if you right click, it will duplicate exactly what you just did. So as long as you don't click somewhere else, you can just see how the cursor is a pointed finger. You can just move it wherever you want. And then it just made a complete duplicate of what you were just working on. So I use that a lot if I'm going to do texting. If I'm going to text an image, or not an image, but let's say I'm going to do a writing, and let's say I'm going to use this one right here. Okay, and then let's say I find the font that I really like, but I want to manipulate it. Let's say I want to adjust the spacing. Let's say I want to adjust the shape or whatever. I'll just duplicate it. And then play with one of them and leave the other one to the side. This is really helpful if you save the image and then go back a couple of weeks, a couple of months, a couple of years later, and you can't remember what that font was. You have the font right here because you haven't done anything with it, and you can tell exactly what that font is. Because when you click on it, it'll come over to the font, the text style, and it'll tell you exactly what it is. So even though I might manipulate this one, let's say I'm going to convert it to a curve, because once you convert a font to a path, other programs call it a curve, but Silhouette calls it a path. Now I can edit this. I can ungroup it, and each letter is its own separate image. Now I can manipulate it. See all these edit points? So I can manipulate it however I need to or want to. But the only problem is that once I do that, I can't tell what that font is because this right here is no longer a font. So if I come back later and want to do another word, let's say I'm doing names and somebody comes and says, I want Ashley, but I've already converted it to a path, I would have to go through and figure out which font it is. And I have over 4,000 fonts, so that doesn't work for me. So I always try to make a duplicate of my letters, of my words, and then right there, it'll tell me it's the little pot. Did that answer your question, your duplicate question? And let me know if you have any other questions. I am going to be at my computer all day today, so I can pop on real quick and help you out if you need. You're welcome. So if you don't have any other questions, then I will end the video. Good. I can't wait to see what your dots look like. I'm a planner too, and I like making my own little stickers, so that's a lot of fun. So we'll see you on Facebook. Bye.